Well, thank you all for joining us today. If you're able to hear me okay, please let me know if my volume goes out at any time. Again, I'm Cindy Hole and very grateful for this opportunity to talk to everyone about building a strong foundation for professional success. So the first question is, what is the one most important thing you credit with your successful career? And for me, it's always been networking. In the American Library Association, we have a Spectrum Scholarship program that is available to students across the field. And I received the Spectrum Scholarship in 2016. When I joined that group of scholars, we went through an institute experience at ALA headquarters in Chicago. And it was a wonderful opportunity to meet students of color from across the field as we gathered together and started this journey through our career by being a part of the Spectrum community and learning more about the field and all of the different ways that you can learn and grow in librarianship. A large focus of what I share today will be on my career in librarianship, but this is my second career. My first was in casino marketing. So as you continue to grow into your career, it's something where you will always want to build a strong network of colleagues, friends, and fellow professionals that you can learn and grow alongside of. So for me, it was really the Spectrum Scholarship Program that helped me find my fit in librarianship and feel that this is a place where I truly belonged. So Ryan shared some of the groups that I hold membership in. And for students of color, I always encourage them to seek out the National Librarian of Color Association groups and join them. Many of them have student discount rates, and some of them are also available through your local state association. So, as there are many different associations throughout any professional field, it's always something where you want to look at the mission and make sure that your values are in alignment. Seek out opportunities to become a member if that is something that works for you, and look at all of the resources that are available. With many of these different groups, I attend their webinars, and those are usually free. I also really enjoy going to their conferences when I'm available to do so, and always just learning and connecting with people online. So I believe that a strong strategy for building a network is making sure that you're aware of all of the different associations that are available to you and seeing what makes the most sense for your career. Whenever I talk to staff about joining a group, I always encourage them to consider it as an investment in their career as well. Because truly, you're going to spend time and resources being a part of that community, and all of that is an investment into your future success. So the second question is, was your cultural heritage a benefit or a hindrance to you? And in Indigenous culture, we often hear nothing about us without us. And it's so important that representation of Indigenous peoples continue to be represented throughout any field, especially when you're talking about North America. Here on Turtle Island, we should always be represented in our work no matter where we go. And so it's important that we remember that our identity is a strength of ours, and diversity is something that is beautiful and that is strengthens any organization. We're all diverse individuals in our own unique ways. And when you're able to bring your knowledge, skill, and ability along with your personality and your professional characteristics to your work, you're really able to grow into that identity as a professional. And so here's a quote from Wayne State University, where I went to school for a library school. And I truly believe that as a leader, there's no greater opportunity to serve others. And so for me, I found my fit in librarianship, and I encourage you to seek whatever it is you're looking for in your career path, whether that's archives, museums, or another technical field. There are so many opportunities truly for each and every one of us. So I always encourage people to look into their cultural heritage and remember to bring your people with you. When you take the stage, your ancestors are with you. When you're presenting, the voice of your people come through you. When you're reflecting, you're identifying those opportunities to be together in that space. It's always something where we can continue to represent who we are, be true to our beliefs and values, and truly represent as traditional beings in the mainstream society. So I encourage anyone to see these wonderful opportunities as benefits to who you are as a human being, and that you're going to continue to provide that ability to others as well. Because when others see you shining in your whole self and they see your strength in doing so, it doesn't need to be scary. Oftentimes you'll hear, well, you can't bring your whole self. You have to fit into a norm. You have to make sure that others are comfortable with your identity and who you are. And as we know, the Creator gave us all one existence, and we're here with a purpose and a reason. And so I encourage you to spend each and every day as just as you are, and always leaning into your culture, because that's who your people are and that's how you were brought up to be. So you should be able to bring that with you no matter where you go and lean into those strengths. So the third question is, what were some of the unique challenges you faced? And for me, it's a feeling of belonging. And it continues to be that for me. Even though I'm in my 10th year of librarianship and I have risen to the top of the American Library Association as the president, there are still often spaces where I feel that I don't necessarily belong there. And that's something that I need to respond to when I'm in that moment. So even if you are seeking out a new opportunity with a new employer, if you're looking at a new educational program at a new school, you have to be able to see yourself as belonging there. And while on paper that often looks doable, it often looks like, oh, there are opportunities for Indigenous people to join this association, to be a part of this organization, to belong here. Sometimes it doesn't always feel that way. And that's okay, because you're going to work through that. You're going to work within yourself and within your community of trust that you have, no matter where that is. Again, make sure that you bring your people with you no matter where you go. Because as we choose to work in the mainstream and we're sometimes balancing that walk between both worlds, it's important that we remember who we are as a people, and we know that we do belong anywhere. So if you are met with an obstacle that has been placed in your way, try to depersonalize that experience. Lean into who you are, what strengths you have to bring to the work. And just, I encourage you to continue to network and find those friendships that will help you know that you do truly belong in this field. Other challenges I faced were changing professions. Sometimes people don't feel that you have the same knowledge base that they do. And they're right about that initially. But once you have the same technical training and education path that they have pursued, you add that to your life experiences. And that helps you really grow into this new profession. And it's a great opportunity for you as well. So while some people always knew what they were going to do with their career, I was not one of those people. And that's fine. It's okay for me to be in a second career and to be pursuing this pathway because I enjoy the work and I feel that I learn and grow each and every day. So while challenges are unique to the individual, it's something that you can really do the work on. Decide, what are these obstacles in place? How will I get around them, over them, through them, or under? Find a path for yourself that makes sense for you and that helps you continue to grow into your professional identity. So, my advice for today's emerging professionals, the first and foremost thing, as we've always heard and been told, is that no one can ever take your education away from you. I encourage you to seek out education wherever possible. There is education of all kinds all throughout your community, and sometimes you need to make a decision to relocate. That's what I did. I come from a big family, and everyone's back home in Siouxland, and I'm the only one who ever moved away to go to school. And I'm grateful for that opportunity because I really grew in that moment. When I moved to Topeka, Kansas, all by myself, I didn't know anyone there. And I immediately found the local Indigenous community, and that's where I found some friendships right away. And I ended up working for Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation just a few months after I started there. And I went to Washburn University and I joined the Indigenous Nations Student Association, where I was elected president my first year. And so that was really my first journey into professional leadership and building that trust with people that I wasn't from there, but I wanted to be a part of that community. So I encourage you to seek out education no matter where it is. And in this job market, we need to talk about upskilling. And upskilling is just taking us to that next level, to really lean into the skills that employers are looking for and seeking out the education and the technical training that's available to us. I know that relocation isn't always an option for everyone. That's just a part of my story. But while I was in the casino field, I learned a lot through my on the job training. OTJ training is an opportunity that employers provide to their employees to be able to level up their skill set, learn a new job, shadow with others. And it was always a very innovative field full of learning opportunities. I really, truly loved working in casinos. I felt that it was a fun and fast paced environment that I really had a lot of success in. And it was because I always kept asking for opportunities to learn and grow. So in this job market, you really need to consider how you can be versatile in your skill set. Now, not everyone can afford a degree program, but for those who seek out that opportunity, look for the scholarship opportunities that are available across the field, across the nation, from maybe your own tribe. Look to see what national programs are available for grant funding. There are many opportunities that you can find when you're seeking funding to obtain a degree. There are also wonderful certificate programs. And as we know in adjacent fields, especially in the teaching field, there are certificate programs that are available to teachers and paraprofessionals and librarians as well, where you can obtain a working knowledge of the technical duties of that field and of specific positions so that you can get your foot in the door. You can explore if that field is a right fit for you, and so that you can start your learning pathway in that new profession. And as Ryan talked about, and as we will talk about more, mentorship. It's a great opportunity for leaders to be able to share some of their knowledge with mentees. And it's also a great opportunity for mentors to learn from their mentees. It goes both way. So, of course, in our Indigenous ways, reciprocity is very important to who we are. It's a strong value that we hold on to. And so, as leaders continue to elevate their careers, it's important that we leave those ladders down and we help new emerging professionals join us and move up with us. So even if you can't directly bring someone with you to a new task or role, you can always invite people to join you on committees, to co-author papers. There are many ways that we can continue to support one another in our success. So there are many free e-resource opportunities online as well. Joining ATALM, looking at all of the webinars that are available, looking at any of the digital resources that are available online, using your local library, whether that's your public library, your school library, if there's an academic, a tribal library, wherever you have access to library resources that are free and open to everyone. That's a great place for you to seek information. And many of the databases that are available have a lot of current resources that are available for your scholarship and study and research. And so I continue to always share my love of libraries and help people see the strength of that community asset. The strong communities have strong libraries, and it's an area of opportunity for everyone to grow together. And of course, volunteering. I've always been one to give back. I come from a family, many generations of volunteers, strong Dakota women who just always get in there and get it done. And so when I have those role models with me, no matter where I go, I remember that this is the time and place for me to be of service to others in our community, because we're always going to be stronger together. So, insights, what you bring to the field. The fourth question was, how do you build resilience and strength? And then another question is, how do you overcome the obstacles? And so I would like to share this with you. So hopefully you can frame this in a way that makes sense to you, no matter where you're at on your journey. And if this information isn't directly for you, it might be for a mentee in the future. It might be for a colleague who is needing to really explore who they are as a professional. And so looking at knowledge, skills, abilities, and experiences, we all know we have the ancestral wisdom of our people that we carry with us no matter where we go. Use that wisdom to be your guide. Sometimes the lens in which we look at life is a little bit different, and that's okay. We don't all need to have the same background, but the knowledge that we carry holds respect and credibility. And so it's important that when we come from an oral storytelling tradition, that we continue to raise that difference, elevate the importance of that difference, so that scholars can continue to see that the knowledge systems that are in place in any society are strengthened by the people and their ability to succinctly share that information in a good way. So as you look at the resilience within you, always remember the resilience of your people and what brought you to this day. We are always going to need to learn from one another and lean on each other from time to time. And that strength really comes from our people. So, looking at our traditional ways and in Hawaiian ways, the ohana, your family, making sure that no one gets left behind. No matter where we are in this world, we need to bring all our cousins with us and help everyone see that they belong and they're here with a purpose. Looking at the wisdom and the knowledge of the community in Ubuntu practices in Africa, they have this belief, of course, treating others as you wish to be treated. And they have a saying that if you want to go far, go alone. But if you want to go together, then that's the best way to stay together as a community. And as we know, the sacred stories that have been shared within our communities. In librarianship, we often hear about open access and how everyone should have equal opportunities to access information. But I lean into that. I help people see that from a scholarship perspective, while there may be information that exists, that doesn't necessarily mean that that information needs to leave the community. It's the same discussion when we talk about repatriation process. We need to make sure that the information, the artifacts that belong to the people stay with the people. And that needs to be understood. Not everything belongs in the mainstream, and not everything is for dissemination on the World Wide Web. And of course, looking at our resilience as a people, the knowledge that we have, that we share, that we hold. It's something that's so beautiful and at the time intimidating to some who don't understand those ways. They don't understand why we're still here, how we're still here. Attempted genocide in any group of people is devastation, and the rebuilding of that takes time. But along the way, we've always stayed together, and that is truly the beauty of our resilience. And in these modern times, remaining resilient as we need to continue to learn new technical skills and learn how to modernize some of the ways of our people, we do so in a fashion where we always remember to seek our elders' advice and to make good decisions for everyone so that we know our current generations and the generations to come will be served in a good way. And that's the beauty and power of Indigenous resilience. So, your skills that you bring to your job, I encourage you to remember the talents that you bring. That's why you were hired. When you have curiosity, follow that path. Learn to code, learn to organize information, learn to research a new pathway that maybe hasn't been explored yet. And always lean into code switching. Know that that's a strength and a safety net for you. It's okay to be Indigenous in modern society. It's okay to be able to have conversations with your Indigenous colleagues in a way that you have this level of comfort and mutual understanding, of course, that always comes from our greatest value of respect. When you have your life skills that you bring to your career, remember that. Not everyone's going to get in a degree. Not everyone's going to have a certificate. That's okay. We are more than our titles. We are more than our degrees. You may need those tools to pursue a career pathway down a certain area, but that's not everything. So as you bring your whole self, remember that's a big part of your strength is the knowledge and the skill that you have learned along your life journey. And then, of course, the collective memory of our people as well, remembering how our ancestors paved the way for us, remembering how our grandparents worked several jobs to be able to provide for our large families, remembering what our parents endured, and that this wasn't many generations back. That trauma still exists in our communities, and that's okay. We are going to use those skills to make informed decisions and to always be empathetic to others because we know struggle. We know that the path hasn't always been easy, but that doesn't matter. We're still here and we're still forging new pathways, and we will continue to do so. So, of course, your abilities as an emerging professional, looking at your individual strengths, I encourage you, write a list, look at where you've come and target where you're going. Make sure that you have those skills that you need to get where you want to go. As lifelong learners, there's so many opportunities and communities to learn and to be with other people online as well. And you bring your unique lens to your work. As individuals, that's our greatest strength. The diversity among us, what we're here to do as a people, the strength that we lend. So if you're looking into a research field, don't forget that your Indigenous knowledge is a very large body of work, and that needs to be recognized and used as well. And I encourage you, as I said, to go ahead and bring your whole self. It might make people uncomfortable on an occasion who don't understand that your value system is different. That's okay. We can all learn from each other. We can learn to relate, and all we can do is be the best people that we can be each and every day. And that's a choice. So your experiences are varied, but remember your precious life and all the value that there is. When there's stressors from work, when there's challenges and obstacles, when there are barriers, we need to move past that. Sometimes it's best to not engage. Sometimes it's helpful to share a little bit of your wisdom and knowledge with others. But sometimes we also need to meet people where they're at. And that means that we're going to leave them where they're at because we're on our own path. And the Creator has us here for a reason. So you're valid. Your life experiences are valid. Your identity is real. Your career is going to be as glorious as you want it to be. You're going to lean into all of the different opportunities that are out there, and you're going to find your fit in your field. And we're always going to remember to volunteer because that's how we lift each other up. We share what we know so that others maybe have an easier pathway and so that we can continue to learn and grow from each other. So at ALA, I'm the first Spectrum ALA president, but I'm not the last. So here are some practical strategies to stand out from the crowd. The first one is just to show up and represent. Lean into who you are and introduce yourself. While that doesn't sound like it's some, high level networking strategy, you'll often see in a room full of people that it's uncomfortable if you don't know anyone. How do you make those introductions? How do you learn to grow your network? So I encourage you to practice your elevator pitch before you attend an event. Know what you want to say in your introduction. Hi, I'm Cindy Hole. I'm Dakota of the Santee Sioux Nation. I'm a librarian at the Kansas City Public Library, and I'm the current president of the American Library Association. Do you have a library card? Asking a question about someone else helps engage them in dialogue where you're learning about them. You've shared a little bit about you. Hopefully that reciprocity will be there and you can learn to have that discussion together. It can be scary walking into a place where you don't know anyone, but know that you belong there and you have other people in this room that also do not know anyone. And this is an opportunity for everyone to connect in this space. So as you continue to network, I encourage you to reach out to people. If you met someone and you saw on their conference badge their name or their library, follow up, email them, connect with them on LinkedIn. That's the professional network that's available on social media. There are many ways for us to continue to grow our network and to continue that conversation. You'll want to move around the room and talk to several people. It's important that you are prepared to do so. So when you're building these sustainable relationships, it requires a genuine approach. So I encourage you to bring your whole self and considering these tips as well. Volunteer when you're able, publish, do what you can to get your work out there. Share your voice in spaces. Make sure that you are representing and that everyone knows that you're there. Join a NELCO. Those are the National Librarian of Color groups. Attend and present at conferences. That very first panel can be scary, but there are tools in place and people who have done that work before you who would be happy to give you some tips and help practice. I always offer if anyone wants to run something past me, I'm happy to listen. And always maintain an updated resume or CV. It's important that you remember to keep inventory of the work that you're doing and make sure that you're remembering everything that you're bringing to the workplace. As you do your evaluations and submit that information to your managers, you need to have an itemized list. So help them see all of the contributions that you're providing to the field. And let's see here. I'm assuming we're good on time still. Let me know if I'm going over, please. So the seventh question I had was in supervising people, what strengths do you value in others? And for me, it's also not only taking stock in their strengths, but recognizing their character. So when I was elected president of ALA, I had an opportunity to select colleagues from across the field to join me in on my advisory council. And so every single one of these leaders have had an impact on my career in a good way. I've learned from them. I've worked with them. We've collaborated on projects, on panels, on papers, and I've always enjoyed hearing from them. I believe that these are true servant leaders who really give a lot to the field. And so when I was thinking about this question, when you're supervising someone, you're holding them accountable to their job description, but you're also helping them grow in their career. And you're hopefully having those one-on-ones with them in a meaningful way. So you're asking them what they need from you in regards to support. You're asking them if they need anything to do their job better. You're supervising their progress. Are they on track to maintain a steady pace of success? Because as managers and leaders, that is our role. We are here to be coaches, we're here to support, and we want to make sure that we're holding everyone accountable so that we meet our goals together. So when I had this opportunity to work with fellow leaders in the field, I immediately wrote my list of who I wanted to invite to join me in this process and on this journey together. And I'm so grateful. I'm inspired by them almost every day. One of them, they're doing something new and great. These are the movers and shakers of the American Library Association and within the field as well. So when you can learn from others, that helps you grow. When you're able to coach someone to their success to help them be the best that they can be in whatever work they're pursuing, that's fulfilling for you as well. So I encourage managers to always remember that it was everyone's first day. It was everyone's first time in a certain role. It was the strength of the manager that helped them feel that they belonged. And that's really what we're here to do together. So I wanted to share with you some of my presidential initiatives with the American Library Association. We will be having 4 summits, 2 of them in person at conferences and 2 online, so that we can cast a wider net and encourage people to join us online. I have already started my We All Belong library tour. I started in Toronto at the Toronto Public Library, which is the largest research library in North America. I toured with Vickery Bowles 2 weeks ago, and I also attended the Association of Research Libraries conference that they had up there. So as I continue to move around the country, feel free to reach out to me if you'd like for me to visit. I will certainly look at my schedule and see what I can do. I'm happy to meet with library types of all kinds. And if you have something big that you would like celebrated, please send me an article link and I'm happy to elevate that as well. So, a good way for ALA, that's my slogan. And as we know in our Indigenous ways, we always gather in a good way. Our work is in a good way because it's for the people. And so, our webinars are going to be focused on Indigenous knowledge, leadership, literacy, and lifelong learning, and of course, belonging with Spectrum Scholars. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be able to share a little bit of my lens and help others see the beauty and diversity in this field. We will select 2 titles for the Read to Lead Book Club and hopefully partner with an organization on that we will be sharing shortly. And we will be curating an All Nations LibGuide. And this is a comprehensive LibGuide that will be bringing in links for other LibGuides that are already in existence, really to help people see all of the different research methodology that's available, looking at all of the subject headings, all of the different types of resources and information that exists so that we can continue to elevate the state of Indigenous research and knowledge. And then I'm going to close with the project that is near and dear to my heart, and that is the Missing Murdered Indigenous Women and People Toolkit. So ATALM and ALA has worked together in the past on the Trails Manual, which is the tribal library resource manual that helps tribal librarians learn, all about different aspects of librarianship. And so this is going to be a companion guide to that. And this is a matter of data disparity, of health misinformation. And we really need to help everyone understand that as this epidemic continues across the country, or in all of North America, actually, that as information professionals, it is our duty to be able to provide someone with a checklist if they need assistance. The ultimate goal is that we would never need to use this. That would be so wonderful to hear that this activity has stopped altogether. But we know realistically that this has only continued to increase, unfortunately. So we want information professionals to understand that by developing a checklist and having this tool available, that they can serve their community in a good way, that they're able to say, here's a link, here's the checklist. I hope this is helpful information to you. And in it, we're talking about the national database. We're making sure that they understand how the registries come to be. We're going to be working with the national MMIWP office in Minnesota with Senator Mary Kunesh, who's Standing Rock Lakota. We're in past ALA executive board member. We're going to be working with the Indigenous Health Department, making sure that we are pulling in the resources, that we're using current data, that we're helping people see the importance of including Indigenous people in all different types of data and graphs, that you can't continue to isolate a certain demographic of people and act like they don't exist just because you didn't include them in the graph. When we're looking at the data disparity in the National Missing Persons database, oftentimes the Indigenous peoples haven't been updated in quite some time. Why is that? As information professionals, we always want accurate information from credible sources. And this is an opportunity for us to elevate this need at this time. And so I'm happy to stand for any questions at all regarding that. I'm working with Carrie Cornelius, who is University Librarian at Haskell Indian Nations University on this project. And we are working with several other partners that I've already named as well. So I'm hoping that this level of research as a toolkit will be very helpful to information professionals across the field. So that was the time that I had with the questions. I hope that that was helpful and I didn't go too fast.
I think it was wonderful.
Here's my contact information.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, Cindy. What wise and practical words, and great initiatives. So there's one question in the chat, and I urge all of you, if you have questions, either put them in the chat, raise your hand, we'll get to you. But Naomi wrote in the chat, what can we do to support you in your new role and presidential initiatives?
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I'm surely grateful for that question. And if you have a specific idea that you want to share regarding information, either in your library, in your community, feel free to email me at cindyforlibraries@gmail.com. And as we continue to get going on this, specifically the toolkit, if you would like to participate in that, the more volunteers, the better. So I'm always happy to bring people together. And then, especially when the toolkit has been published, if you would please share that within your community, we would be very grateful.
Does anybody else have questions for Cindy?
Yes, Dr. Deidre Suwani Dees at the Porch Band of Creek Indians. Can you tell us how to start a book club?
Yes. Well, so when you want to start a book club, you're going to select some titles that you feel that the community would like to gather around, and whether that has a meaningful storyline for the people, whether it's new information, whether it's a favorite author who just received an award for their literary merit. It's, there's so many different ways that you can curate a list. And the other option is always to say, hey, we're going to have a book club. Come and join us. And then when your members show up, you ask them, what are they interested in? What's a favorite title? What's major takeaways? And then you can also look at different award lists. Like it was recently announced that Tommy Orange's Wandering Stars is on the long list. So it's so interesting to see Indigenous author, being recognized for his work. Two titles in a row now. So, really just leaning into the community needs, asking people, how often they want to meet, where they want to meet. Is this going to be in person? Is it going to be online? And then looking at publishers' websites, often they'll have a title page for the title that you select with the different questions that are available for whoever's facilitating that book club. And, make it your own. It can be fun, it can be informal, it can be online, you can have snacks, you can rotate locations. It's really just about, sharing the love of stories with one another. So I hope that's helpful.
But oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions for Cindy before we move on?
Well, Ryan, I thought you might mention that we want to start a book club with the NEPN, books that you might enjoy reading and sharing and discussing. So Dr. Dees, thank you for bringing that up. It's a good segue into one of our activities that we're coming up with.
Absolutely.